Hey guys, welcome to the channel. We are doing something a little bit different this time. Usually it's just a bit of deck profiles and some random decks, but today we're going to try something a little bit different. Most of this video is just a bit of a guide. So a bit of a, not a comprehensive guide, because I'm not saying I'm a good player or anything. There's a husky behind me. But yeah, this is just my take on the meta at the moment and the way things shape out and ways to counter the meta. So it's not one of those videos that's just like 5 top meta decks. Number 5. Number 4. It's not going to be anything like that. Like, we all know what the 5 best decks are. Well, the 5th one can be debatable, but like, really can't argue with it. Yeah, there's 5 decent, really strong decks. So they're the meta decks at the moment. We're going to have a talk about those ones, and then we will have a little bit of a chat about what they do, a few little tips against them. Yeah, so the first deck we're going to look at, a few people may argue that it's not the top one into the top 5 meta decks, but I believe it is, and that is Pendulums. So Pendulums have been around for a while, since the Pendulum Evolution box set. Most of the stuff came out of that box, so it's a really good deck. It was in the meta for a while, and then only recently the new structure decks came out with the Endymion stuff. So with the Endymions, they're very, very strong. Can pretty much love to go first rather than anything. So they can set up massive boards with Guard Dragon stuff and a fair few other things with the help of the Spring King Darkworm and the Gates. So they can set up stuff with Vortex Dragon, Borrowload Savage. They're fairly consistent really, but they can be very prone to Nibiru. But that's the thing, if a good player is playing the Endymion build, they're just going to use Servant to special summon a Jackal King, and that saves them from being Nibiru'd. So yeah, it's not too great. So they can pretty much set up, if you can, hit the Servant every time. Like, it's such a good card. I've been testing out with Endymion. Just hit the Servant if you can. It can be ashed, and then they can't use it that turn. So yeah, the deck highly relies on spell counters, so if you got the cards that get rid of spell counters or other cards that stop either pendulums or like other things like that. Found that a fair few people have been running Dimensional Barrier lately, just mainly because of Pendulum. So cards like Dimensional Barrier, Anti-Spell, Imperial Order, well, yeah, pretty much a lot of different things, but if you can hit actually Servant of Endymion or Effect Violet the Electromite, that'd be a really good idea to do. Because usually with that, I don't really have too many places to go on to unless they've drawn really godlike. So there's also the Spell Power Mastery. It pretty much adds counters and searches a card, so pretty dumb. And that boss monster, the Master of Endymion, can, but this one, that's pretty nuts. Like, not a lot of decks can get over it, so you've got to be careful of it and be prepared that if it does come out, how are you going to get over it? So have a bit of a think about that and see how you... Now, next deck we'll talk about, everyone knows this deck, everyone's sick of this deck. Like, it just won a Region Wise, yes, so yeah, obviously you can figure it out. Sky Striker. The deck's been around for a long time with the utility of Widow Anchor, Ray, Afterburner, Hayate, Kagari, even hits to multi-roll, Kagari, and Widow Anchor. It's still able to do stuff. Like, it's changed to more of a control build. Like, a lot of the Card of Demise builds are coming back. So prefer to get Floodgate on the board, and pretty much there can be only one. Stops a lot of decks because they don't really care if they need to use monster effects. If they've got an Engage and a multi-roll, they are set for life. So pretty much if you can, get rid of the multi-roll. Like, the ability to recur everything every turn is just nuts. Like, get rid of the multi-roll, hit the Kagari if it comes out, just make it useless. Can even DD Crow the Kagari once it hits the grave. That would be very nice. They can get it back, but it's very hard to. So if you DD Crow the Kagari, they can't Hercules base it back and keep using it. So pretty much the Sky Striker links like Kagari and Shizuku are really annoying, really good at giving advantage, so you've just got to kind of think about that a little bit. So, Ray is really, really strong. If you can, keep her out of the grave. If she's in the grave, try and hit her with Called by the Grave or DD Crow. So So there's a few things to worry about with the attacking as well with Sky Strikers, because obviously if you kill the Suzuki that's on the board, they've got a Ray and Grave, the Ray's going to come out. So just be aware, the Ray's going to come out. I had a few issues with it with dinosaurs, because there's kinda. So Sky Striker kinda only play it one of, but it is a really good card. Like, they can pretty much summon Ray from the graveyard when it gets attacked. You try and attack Ray, they quick effect, summon Kaina, and then target a monster, and that kind of attack. So it's pretty nuts. Like, they did it to Multi-Conductor the other day. Crap. The Conductor can't attack anymore. But yeah, pretty much think about it. Like, think about the advantage. So say if you can only attack over Kigari, do a little bit of damage. Like, if there's a Ray engraved, is it worth attacking over it? Because you attack the Kigari, it dies, you get the Ray back, they get the Ray back. If you can attack over the Ray, yeah, that's fine. They can tribute it out for a Suzuki. If you can attack over the Suzuki, yeah, that's good. If you can't get over the Suzuki or get rid of it, end phase, they've got advantage. So yeah, same as if they go to a Hayate. So sometimes it's worth just leaving the Kigari on board, just go, I'll leave it, I'll set up for next turn, and then just wait. So pretty much good back row removal, works really well. Keep the multi-roll off the field. They set a Widow Anchor multi-roll and stuff like that. Just get rid of it, banish it, get rid of it, just smash it. And they're playing a lot more shark cannons lately, so be aware for that if you're playing stuff that relies on graveyards, so Orcust and stuff like that. Just be aware that they're gonna have a fair few shark cannons nowadays to steal your stuff, either banish it for you or take it off of your hands. So just be aware. A few different things to worry about. Pretty much the deck loses to heavy backer removal like Cosmic Cyclone, Twin Twister, Anti-Spiral Fragrance, Imperial Order, like stuff like that. The only variant that probably doesn't get hurt as much is the Draco variant, because they can use their Draco spells and traps to do a few other things. So just be aware of the variant you're playing against. Be aware of Ray, Multi-Roll, and Anchor. I mean, we all know Engage is so nuts. So if you can get rid of Engage as well, that'd be nice. But you never know. Alright, deck number 3. So obviously this deck's been around for a while as well. Same situation as Striker. Like, some people are really sick of it. Other people love it so much, but when it first came out, it was very cheap. It is still fairly cheap, but you do require other things to make it a lot more consistent, and that's Salamangreat. So we all know what this deck does. It's very good at recurring stuff, very good at setting up going first and stuff like that. But yeah, like there's stuff like Gazelle, like hits to Gazelle and Circle, they got smashed on the last ban list. They're still winning stuff, like they're still very consistent. They only need one card to go nuts, and then yeah, that's it. Like, just need one card to get into the Baylink. Baylink gets into the Sanctuary. Sanctuary gives them another Baylink. There's inherent protection. You've got stuff like Spinny, Gazelle, Jaguar, like just keep recurring resources and stuff like that. You can go into your Sunlight Wolf, you can set a spell a trap, you can add a monster back, like you can ash your opponent and then summon a monster to the zone Sunlight Wolf points to, and then get your ash back. Like, absolutely nuts. Stuff like Heater can help push for damage and stuff like that. Just summon your opponent's Phoenix or Ray or whatever. Just go nuts with it. So obviously it's very graveyard centric. Like, it needs to activate a fair few things in grave. If you can, try and hit the Gazelle. Like, you gotta get the Gazelle on field. Most of the time, there is a problem with that though these days. Like, yeah, you can Valor it, that's fine. But like Ash, there is Sea Archiver that they're using now, so they'll pretty much go Gazelle Chainlink 1, Sea Archiver Chainlink 2, they're both mandatory, have to do that under Seagok, so you've got to understand that the chain blocks, so you can't Ash it, you've just got to kind of go, no, yeah, all good, we'll just go for the next one, so you just got to kind of worry about it. That's why Effect Veil is a little bit better these days, because you can get around chain blocks, but it can't be used on your turn, so that's a bit annoying. Ash on the other hand is really, really good. So if you can Ash the Gazelle, that's really good. If not, try and get rid of like Sunlight Wolves and stuff like that. So they've got the inherent protection of Baylinks in grave. If you get rid of the Baylinks, then there's nothing protecting them in grave. So stuff like DD Code, Called by the Grave, Abyss Dweller, Silent Graveyard, all of those stuffs work really well. So you just got to think about where you want to put more resources into. So do you want to get rid of the graveyard stuff, or do you want to get rid of the on-field stuff? You can do the other route like Mega Fleet Dragon and stuff like that to make sure that the Salamangreat Rage and Salamangreat Roar are not viable. Like, they need a link up to make those work. So if you get rid of them, there you go. You get rid of Sunlight Wolf that they usually end on, and they've got nothing to use with their Roar or Rage. So we can try and just bait them out, because they're not usually going to have more than that. They might have Impermanence or one or two other things, but it's not going to be too much really. So you just got to have a bit of a look, have a look at what resources they've got, especially with one Gazelle and one Circle. It is a little bit harder for the deck, but they do have 3 Signet Mining still, so they are very good cards. You can always ditch a Salamangreat monster off of mining, search Gazelle. Same sort of thing as Chronograph Sorcerer, the Gazelle can special itself out and then send a card. So then they'll just go into Wolf, add the card back to hand, and then set it. And next turn, it's ready. So just be aware that the Salads are very good, very consistent. They usually play a lot of hand traps, especially Phantasmes, Ash, sometimes Veiler, Ghost Ogre. Well, Ogre's not that great this format. Bell, Artifact Sanctum, Artifact Scythe, Artifact Lancier. Like, they can play up to 12 hand traps, like, and just be fine. Like, it's just nuts. They just have to draw one Salamangreat card, and they've got 4 cards to search them, and then like they just go into the Spinny or the Gazelle and just bang, blow you out. Like, it's absolutely nuts. The deck is still good. Did get a few hits, but it's still very, very good. Yeah, so the 4th deck we're going to have a look at is Thunder Dragon. So I still believe this deck is the 2nd best deck of the format. It's still very good, but it's got a bad matchup against the top deck, which I'm sure you can guess what it is by now. We'll talk about that in a minute. But with the Thunder Dragons, it's a very, very strong deck. Stuff like Colossus and Titan are very hard to deal with for a lot of different decks. Like, not all of them, not all the decks have removal like Orcust do, so you've got to work around it. Colossus will stop you from searching, everyone knows that. Titan can pop cards in your turn or during their turn, like just whenever, like just goes nuts. Pretty much the idea is to stop them from banishing. Like, if you can stop them from banishing, it's a very good idea. You just go, ah yeah, cool, Lancier. And they'll be like, ah, shit, okay. And if they haven't already got stuff to set up, then they're pretty screwed. So just be aware. They are very extra deck reliant. They do have monsters and stuff in their main deck like Duo and BLS, and even Roar's got big attack, but most of the utility comes from the extra deck, so you can always hit them with Scythe, Artifact Lancier, and Abyss Dweller, Silent Graveyard, like just stuff like that. Pretty much tech cards to stop banishing, or tech cards to stop the graveyard, cards to stop the extra deck. Heaps of different stuff you can do against Thunder Dragons. Like, for one, they've got a lot of cards in this meta that can just counter them really well, like Super Poly, Lancier, Chaos Hunter, Abyss Dweller, Silent Graveyard, Ghost Bell, Ash Blossom, Effect Battler, like Infinite Impermanence, just so much stuff. Like the artifact engines, like there's so much stuff that people can decide for Thunder Dragons. Like, it's absolutely insane. So you need to be aware of what's going on. Like, you can even get Nibiru'd if you haven't set up an Appaloosa the right way. So most of the time with Thunders, they will set up an Appaloosa so they can kind of get around the Nibiru, but in some cases they don't. You just go Nibiru, and they're like, oh, okay. Like, if they don't do it right, then Nibiru, Appaloosa is after their 5th summon. So on their 5th summon, if they look like they're going into Appaloosa, just belt them with Nibiru. Like, just clear their board, give them the token. Hopefully they got nothing else to go along with it. If you've hit them at the right time, then they won't have anything else to continue with. They just have to sit with the token and maybe do a couple other things. So they might be able to get 1 Colossus on the board, but 1 Colossus isn't too bad to deal with. A few of the other builds that I've seen, the Danger Thunder or the Seyfried Levianeer Thunder combo bullshit deck is back, so you've got to be aware that that's a huge combo deck. Again, set the Nibiru, but they're just gonna make the they're just gonna make the Appaloosa again. But if you stop graveyard effects, you stop banishing, you can pretty much do the same thing, like same aspect. They're just gonna stop on a couple of other things apart from just the Colossus Titan boards, the Thunder, pure Thunder wheel. So a little bit different, a little bit more combo based, a little bit quicker, I guess, but I don't know, can be a little bit different. I haven't tested as much with that deck or against it because it's very expensive at the moment. It's safe into like $50 each, and then Levineers are probably up at that high as well. So yeah, pretty much if you can, just be wary, stop graveyards, stop banishing. So that's about it really. Be aware they do run Eradicator Virus every now and then, so be aware if you're playing lots of spells or lots of traps, because Eradicator Virus can absolutely destroy you if you don't play around it. Okay, so the last deck we're going to have a look at, I'm sure you all know which one we're waiting for, like, seriously, Orcust. We all know this is the best deck at the moment. It's just so consistent, so strong, hasn't had any hits, apart from Mermaid, but all that did was stop the bullshit Cyber Dragon and a couple other builds. Like the Little Light version still goes off, going second, maining Super Poly still goes off, going first, set up a board, even set up Topologic Bomber is still good. They're going to have a lot more cards to come into it, so just there is a very, very good deck. Like the Lunalight build can make Azathoth and Beast King to just turn off your Tiger King, sorry, to turn off your monster effects, and then they can even make Dweller in there at the end of their turn just to set up their board of Crescendo and other stuff, and then just go Dweller. You get past Dweller and a Crescendo. If you're playing Orcust, you're screwed, buddy. So they've got other cards, extenders, like some play the Dangers, which give a lot more utility, give a summon, special summon draw, stuff like that. So can be a little bit more utility, but there's others that are just going for the straight pure build, doing orchestrated return stuff, playing pretty much 3 of most of them with World Wands and Gizmex in the deck. Very annoying deck, but so good recursion. The ability of Babble and stuff like that just to make your effects quick effects, so like during your player's turn is so nuts. Like you can do special stuff from the graveyard during your opponent's turn, like they get rid of your Dingirsu, you just go simple skeleton, banish, summon the Dingirsu, send a card to grave, like just absolutely nuts. Then you can set stuff in your opponent's turn, like set the Crescendo or something in your opponent's turn. It's just like A few more are playing the Cyber Dragon Nashta build as well. Like you use Nashta, go second, special summon it, Mega Fleet with your opponent's monsters, or Chimeratech Fusion Dragon with your opponent's monsters. If you're playing against a full machine deck, you just Chimeratech them away, and then your opponent's board is relatively depleted, so they can't really do too much after that. So yeah, it does go second, does go first, extremely strong either way, so I feel like this deck is going to have to get hit eventually. With Dingirsu being so strong, Galatea and all the other monsters being so strong, it's just like inevitable, they have to be hit. There's so many different cards that they've been utilising lately, so against Orcust there's stuff like Called by the Grave, Diddy Crow to get rid of the pieces, like if they go Armageddon Knight, send a piece, you go Diddy Crow, get rid of that piece, like the Harp Horror or whatever, just stuff like that, get rid of their stuff. No Material's seen a little bit of play, I'm not too sure whether it's any good or not, but going to be testing it out a little bit, see whether anything actually comes up or not. Then yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see what actually comes up. So stuff like Lancia, Abyss Dweller, Chaos Hunter, Silent Graveyard, pretty much anything to stop graveyards or extra deck. Artifact Engine utilising Lancia and Scythe is really good. Fair few other little things. A few people are looking at cards like Book of Eclipse. Book of Eclipse came to me with when I was playing against Orcust. Like, yeah, it doesn't do anything to that links, but if they're set up with a Dingirsu or Winder, it's pretty hard to get over. Like, pretty nuts. So if you can flip the Dingisu over, it can't protect anything if it's face down, so you can just go ahead and break your opponent's board. Pretty much stuff like that. Or you can just go for the all-in route and just go super poly, wipe their board, and then summon your own Starving Venom Fusion Dragon, stuff like that. So be aware there are a few different things you can do that are not the greatest techs. Like you can do cherries on the Galatea. Yeah, it hinders them. It's not going to kill them, not going to make them lose, but it is going to hinder them a little bit. They have to do a few different plays. Look out for Winder. They do have instant fusion Winder, and then when it tries to destroy itself in the end phase, they just go detached Dingisu and it stays. So it's pretty nuts. So they've got a full board of a negate and Dingisu, and then you've got to get over a Winder as well. So you have to do it pretty well to get out of that. Pretty nuts. If you do go against a Lunalight Orcust, just be aware. Try not to Ash the Collider Chick or Effect Veil the Collider Chick. It does nothing with its effect. Its effect is to send to grave, like that's its cost. So it'll still send to grave. Its effect is to gain the name of that monster it sends, so it's not really going to do too much. If you can, try and get rid of the Lunalight Tigers or Yellow Martins. So they will try and abuse those because they're not once per turn. Like all the Lunalights are not once per turn, so they can just abuse them massively. So be aware there are a few different things running around, especially with Orcust. Playing Super Poly, Mind Control, Twin Twisters in their main, it's absolutely nuts. So just be aware of that deck and don't get blown out by it. And there we go, guys. That's a bit of an overview of what I think of the meta decks at the moment. Like, this is, as I said, this is not a comprehensive review. This is not like, this is how you beat them. This is crazy. This is my take on what you can do, a few little tips, and how to beat them. Like, just few little bits and bits, like some things that people might not know and other things that are extremely obvious to other people. So just be aware there's a lot of different takes on how to play against a certain decks. These are just my takes. Let me know in the comments down below what you think. Give us a bit of a guide on what you'd like to see next. I'm going to be doing some road decks next, so give us a bit of a shout out what ones you want to see. I'm going to do 2 more videos on road decks, try and split them up into 2 different videos of 5 each. Looking at stuff like dinosaurs, rockets, cyber dragons, paleo frogs, infernoids, Altergeist, Subterra, heroes, Grand Magi, and Madolche. Like some decks that are very road decks, but they are very strong. Like they can steal wins, especially at regionals lately. They've been winning a few regionals, top 8ing and stuff like that. So just thought I'd give you guys a guide on those ones as well, just my take on them. Opinions are on the meta at the moment, whether you think a few decks should die in the next ban list, or whether you think most of them are safe, most of them are pretty fair. Like, yeah, no, it's all good. Thanks for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you got a little bit of insight out of it. That's just what I'm trying to do, is give back a little bit to from my experience. Like, no, I'm not the best player in the world, and no, I'm not like winning everything. Like, it's not how I am. Like, I just want to give back to especially the guys in SA Scrubs. Thanks to Liam and Pete giving me a bit of insight into a few other decks, and shout out to everyone in SA Scrubs. Hopefully this helps you guys with preparing for YCS in Sydney in January, and anyone else going to YCS Sydney, make sure you come and have a look. I'll be doing some video logging along the way, just to give anyone on Facebook or YouTube a bit of a guide on what we go through when we go to YCS. Like, we're posting pictures and everything else on Facebook when we go up there. It's not till January, but it's going to be a really fun time. I'm not expecting to do really well. I'm just tempted to go there, have fun, and make a few people have a hard time when they're playing against me at YCS. So thanks for watching the video again. I'll see you guys next time.